behind the door of an anonymous office in Berlin. Contact reviewers, watch thousands of photos and video every day.
I remember I cried.
This is the story of one person who worked here.
It's the most important job in Facebook, and it's the worst, and no one cares about it. Every day you'll see things that shock you, traumatizing stuff. Beheadings, child pornography, animal abuse. You become like a machine. With this hand the next button, and this button yes or no, so you click. Next, decide, next, decide.
What was the worst kind of content you had to see?
I would definitely go with child pornography, because you get to see like even a 6-month-old baby being raped. Also terrorism. You see very graphic images of blood and terrorist attacks.
This work is hard, but I will say that the graphic content, that sort of content, is a small fraction of what reviewers might see. Increasingly, we've been able to use technology to review and remove some of the worst content that you might see somebody upload to Facebook. What effect and the things you see have on you and your husband?
I had nightmares a couple of times. I remember one, for example, people jumping from a building. I don't know why. And I remember people, instead of helping the people jumping, they were just taking photos and videos. And I remember catching one little girl, crying with this little girl, and I woke up crying. And I remember blood everywhere, people just doing videos.
What did you think of the way the company supported you and supported your colleagues?
The company didn't support us at all. I think we complained almost every day. Almost every day, because we had problems. We didn't like the things we were looking at.
We know it's difficult. We're committed to giving them what they need to do this job well. And if they're ever uncomfortable at work, there are counseling resources for them, and they can be shifted to work on a different type of content.
Mark Zuckerberg's popularity is as an all-time low. How Mark Zuckerberg became the most reviled man, a diamond dozen in the media, is an endless stream of memes labeling him as a robot and an alien. His appearance and behavior are relentlessly generally mocked. Tech billionaires like Elon get Musk a very mixed reception from the press, and sent used to ash to be true for Zuckerberg. In his early career, he was a rising star. He was even named Times Person of the Year for 2010. But today, Mark Zuckerberg's public image is almost entirely negative. People see him as a cold, calculating, ruthless businessman. With Zuckerberg admitting that he's obsessed with the Roman Emperor Augustus Caesar is no surprise why he has such hunger for power, as such a terrible haircut. I mean, even Zuckerberg's own chat board doesn't like the AI him. Asked what he thought about Zuckerberg, he responded by calling Zuckerberg a bad person and said he was creepy and manipulative. And as we all know, all of his appearances over the years have been a gold mine. This begs the question, why is Zuckerberg hated so much, more than any other billionaire? In fact, what made Zuckerberg one of the most despised figures in the world? And how did this all happen? Well, the first reason comes from the way built Facebook in the first during place. The creation of there Facebook, were multiple controversies, lawsuits, and backstabs involved in the company's It all starts when multiple Harvard students accused Zuckerberg of stealing the idea for Facebook, an accusation that ended up being true. The website's early counterpart was named, and it was supposed to function essentially the same way as Facebook In fact, did. Connection was so similar to that Facebook, Zuckerberg had to settle out of court for $65 million. But not only did Zuckerberg steal the idea, but he deliberately destroyed his competitor. Connection. The project would be shut down on February 3rd, coincidentally, just one day before Facebook was launched. This was just the start of the controversy by Facebook up and running. It wouldn't take long into Facebook's launch for Zuckerberg to call this user base dump during a text conversation with his friend. Although this wasn't public at the time, Zuckerberg outwardly believed that anyone who handed over their dates to him through Facebook. He even brags and mocked the idea anyone would trust them with their personal data. And if this wasn't bad enough, 2 years later, Zuckerberg would be accused by an undergraduate. They claim to have their website features copied by Facebook, going by the same name, face and This was an early competitor to Zuckerberg's developed by another Harvard student. They alleged that Facebook had copied their original features. After taking Zuckerberg to court, they were going to settle the case for an undisclosed amount. But despite these few missteps Zuckerberg was making, really didn't stop Facebook from the social media market. I mean, in just 4 years after its launch, Facebook now had 100 million users. And then in 2012, this number would increase tenfold. We can clearly see this meteor rise. The amount of people addictive generation. This is a big-time bomb ticket. This is no accident indeed. It is by design. I mean, seriously, it was my mistake. I mean, I think we can all feel it. To try to make these products as addictive or spiky, your social media companies, who borrow principles from Las Vegas among other places, to try to make these products as addictive as possible. That is the desired use case of these products, is that you use it in a picture of fashion that maximizes the profit that can be extracted from your attention and data. It literally is a point now. Who I think we have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are. The way the technologist puts it is that these companies offer you shiny treats in exchange for minutes of your attention and bytes of your personal data, which can then be packaged up. And so, what happened is that the attention economy and its race for attention got more and more competitive. And the more competitive it got to get people's attention on its news website, the more they need to add these design principles, is more manipulative design tactics as ways of holding on to your attention. You don't realize it, but you are being programmed. Social media tools are designed to be addictive. The actual desired use case these tools is that you fragment your attention as much as possible your waiting hours. That's how these tools are designed to use. Well, we have a growing amount of research tells us that if you spend large portions of your day in a state of fragmented attention, so large portions of your constantly breaking up your attention, flash to just quickly look at Instagram, that this can permanently reduce your capacity for concentration. I'm especially worried about this when we look at the younger generation coming up, which is the most saturated technology. It's very addictive because if you pull on the slot machine arm enough, you will win. You never know which pull will reward you. That's an addicted behavior, and it's dopamine that is driving that addiction. So, what happens with social media is Robert Spolsky did the foundational research on this stamp for the magic of maybe when you look at your phone. And maybe there's a text maybe there's not, and you don't know. When it shows up, that high you get. That's dopamine is the magic. Maybe it'll be there. Maybe it won't. When it shows up with a 400% spike in dopamine, that is roughly the same amount of dopamine as you're getting from cocaine. Slightly less than an extremely addictive drug like cocaine. And that's what's happening. We really care what other people think of us. So, for example, you know when you upload a new photo, a new profile photo of yourself on Facebook? And that's a moment where our mind is very vulnerable to knowing what other people think of my new profile photo. And so when we get new likes on our profile photo, Facebook, knowing this, could actually message me and say, "Yo, you have new likes on your profile photo," and it knows it will be vulnerable to that moment because